Today on the LA Food Podcast, it's beginning to feel a lot like Black Friday, dear listener, and because you know we'd never leave you out in the cold, Father Sal and I are coming through with a very LA Food Pod gift guide. Whether you're surrounded by beginner cooks, insufferable know-it-alls, or anyone in between, we've got you covered. How are we doing it? Well, because like the Food Network, everything ends up being a bit of a competition here, Father Sal and I are going toe-to-toe in each category to see who could come up with the best gift. Be sure to vote in the Spotify poll to officially crown which one of us is the ultimate gift guide curator. Spoiler alert, it's me. But first, we discuss a couple of headlines that caught our eye this week. There's a piece in Taste making the case in favor of gatekeeping your favorite restaurants, a podcast with the brand new editor of the best American food and travel writing that elicited some red hot takes on the future of food media, and a slightly snarky Substack article that debated whether 2024 was a year of highs or lows for LA restaurants. Hope y'all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and nothing would make me more thankful than if you left us a rating or a review wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm your host, Luca, and without further ado, let's chow down. The LA Food Podcast is presented by The Lonely Oyster. Unwind at The Lonely Oyster's Echo Park Night Watch. Did you know that every night is industry night at The Lonely Oyster, dear listener? Stroll in after 10 p.m. nightly for a one-of-a-kind experience designed for the night owls and hospitality pros. Indulge in $12 handshake cocktails, expertly crafted liquid chef concoctions, delicious late-night hot bites, and chef's choice dozen oysters. More than just a place to unwind, The Lonely Oyster warmly welcomes industry professionals, providing a space where like-minded individuals can connect, relax, and enjoy the camaraderie that comes with the late-night scene. Whether you're looking to kick back after a long shift or simply enjoy the vibrant atmosphere, late night at The Lonely Oyster is the perfect rendezvous for those who appreciate good company and great food and drinks. Don't miss this nightly affair and let the good times roll at The Lonely Oyster. All right, welcoming back to the LA Food Podcast, a man I'm grateful for, not just on Thanksgiving, but every day of the year. It's Father Saw. Father Saw, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Right back at you. It's nice, man.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Of course, right back at you.
Wow, I was expecting something a little bit more sardonic or sarcastic, but you know what? Thank you for the sincerity. Well, when listeners listen to this, Thanksgiving will have already happened, but you and I are recording this prior to Thanksgiving. But Saul, what are your Thanksgiving plans this year as an Angelino for the first time in 7 years?
We're gonna be doing it out here. Emily's parents are in town. They rented out an Airbnb, and her mom, very ambitiously, we're not ordering in. She is cooking Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow!
From the Airbnb. I hope they have a turkey. I actually haven't asked about this. I think I've been assigned mashed potatoes as what we're bringing, but I don't know how she's gonna pull it off. But I'm excited to see it happen. If
they haven't made turkey arrangements already, they should probably get on that.
I know. I mean, I assume they're on top of it if they've committed to doing this, but I've not been looped in. I mean, it's refreshingly out of my control for once. I'm not in charge of every logistic of a trip, so I'm excited to see what they pull together.
You were telling us last night about how Emily's mother, Thanksgiving kind of runs in her roots.
Oh yeah. I mean, she was like, her family is descended from like the people who like original pilgrims, which I don't know if we want to share. I don't know if that's like a cancelable fact at this point, but no, she's very into the tradition. We were at their place in Massachusetts for Thanksgiving last year. Great dinner, and I'm excited to see it replicated here in LA.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
I mean, I am like mashed potatoes and gravy, I think is like my number one. Ever since I was a kid, fucking love the mashed potatoes and gravy. I mean, look, just gravy. Let's be honest, like gravy's just the best, like the tastiest part. So, and then like whatever I'm putting the gravy on is gonna taste good. So,
do you save all your gravy intake for Thanksgiving, or is it the kind of thing where you will occasionally go to the KFC drive-thru and just get yourself a nice little bowl of gravy?
I will not do that. I guess for the most part, gravy is safe for Thanksgiving. I mean, look, there are gravy adjacent like pan sauces or whatever that like you'll consume throughout the year, but like a gravy, like a proper proper gravy boat kind of style gravy. Yeah, that's really a Thanksgiving thing.
Yeah, I think my theory is that is one of the reasons why it is so beloved, is because we don't have it all the time. Because really, it's kind of just chunky meat juice.
I mean, look, nothing wrong with chunky meat juice. Like, yeah, I would still eat it if you call it that.
Fair enough. Doesn't even matter how bad the branding is. Father Saul will eat it. Myself, we're in the desert for Thanksgiving. We're not doing a traditional turkey dinner. We're going to be having crab cakes because my mother-in-law is from originally was from Maryland. She'd kill me if I said she was from Maryland today. But crab cakes is obviously a big thing over there, and she recently found out you can actually ship them over from Maryland. So we're having legit Maryland crab cakes, and these are not your typical crab cakes, Saul. These are like big ass mountainous crab cakes. You have like one and you're pretty much set, or in my case two, and you're pretty much set.
All right. I mean, it sounds fucking good to me. I mean, look, she hasn't had, like, Seattle has really good crab cakes as well. Dungeness crab, right? So like, I wasn't exactly lacking for crab cake the last couple of years, but it'd be cool to have like a little Seattle versus Maryland, East Coast, West Coast crab cake off. See what they got.
I don't know. I feel like you took me out for many seafood coated dinners when I visited you in Seattle, and I remember having crab cakes, but there's nothing quite like this.
Sounds good, man.
Well, when the listeners are listening to this, it'll be Black Friday. Are you a Black Friday participant?
Nah, not really. I never understood it. I think, like, I mean, when we were kids here in America, like, I think the deals were actually good. I feel like over time, the deals are actually like not even that significant, Black Friday versus other days. And also the whole, like, I haven't watched this documentary yet, but there's a documentary called Buy Now on Netflix about, like, you know, consumerism and the tricks, the marketing tricks that like brands use to get you to buy their stuff. Like, it was never like I always feel like gross. You'd be a kid watching like the hordes of people stampeding into Walmart, and you were like, I don't want to be a part of that. So sorry not to shit on your prompt question, but no, never been a Black Friday guy.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, I in recent years, I've definitely like log on to see if any of the gifts I'm planning to get like the loved ones in my life go on sale, right? Like online Black Friday sales, all about. But yeah, in Europe, growing up, they would like show Black Friday on TV. Like it was like, haha, look at these dumb Americans lining up at 4 a.m. in the morning for like some TVs, you know? It was the same like media attention that we'd give to like the running of the bulls in Spain, you know? This like kind of like, you know, curiosity thing that's happening across the pond, but that we absolutely need no part of. I'm yet to ever wait in a Black Friday line myself.
Yeah, no, it's never happening. Like, and just like I'm loath to wait in line for a popular food trend, right? Like, just like the idea of like waiting in line, that I'm that desperate for something, just goes against my nature, man. Like, I don't need it that bad.
It's so not you. You hate crowds. You hate music festivals. I will say right. Though, we recently went back to Courage Bagels, and we've always been put off of going back because of the line. And so this was my second time, and it was my wife's first time. And when we got there, the line was insanely long, and she was like, no way this is going to be worth it. First of all, the line moves pretty quickly. We waited maybe like 20 minutes total. And I got to say, dude, it is totally worth it. Every time I go, I'm like, there's no way this is going to be worth it. It's fucking worth it. You got to do it. That's a line worth standing in.
That's the one I might make an exception for. Having heard from you now multiple times, and also bagels. Look, maybe bagels are the one line exception I'll allow for.
Yeah. Well, look, the reason I asked you about Black Friday is because today we are dropping the first ever. I don't think we did this last year actually, but this is the first ever LA Food Pod gift guide. Sal and I are going to go category for category. We have, I believe, 10 categories, and we're each going to give our recommendation for a gift, and that will be our LA Food Pod gift guide. But first, I want to talk about a couple of headlines that caught my eye this week, kicking off with a couple of pieces of content, one an article and one a podcast from our friends at Taste, which, by the way, you know, we just celebrated 100 podcast episodes. Matt just celebrated 500 podcast episodes. Doesn't that make you feel small?
No, not really. I don't measure my worth in podcast episodes, but hey, hell yeah, way to go, Matt. We'll get there. We'll get there one day.
Yeah, hopefully. 500 is a lot, my dude. But anyways, first thing I want to talk about was an essay published by Sean Merchant entitled, "Is There a Case for Gatekeeping?" And the article explores this tension between the benefits of a viral social or media presence for a restaurant versus the reality of what happens when that virality translates to an unmanageable influx of business. So, first question for you. Is this a real problem?
Well, I don't know. I think I mean, Bill Addison actually referenced this trend in his sign off piece, if you remember, right? The fact that because of the way food media works now and virality works, restaurants are like inundated with like customers, like a rush when they open, or some are at least, and then it all goes away. Similarly, like the as it speaks to in the piece, when you are a viral sensation, one, you have to manage quantity with quality, and two, your customers are coming in with a level of expectation with what they're going to receive, which can create the kind of environment for more negative and critical responses because you may not be able to meet that. I don't think this is as much a question about whether or not it's a problem, though. I think it's just kind of like a interesting observation or a thesis, right? For this long kind of like think piece from Taste. So I think it's worth kind of touching on. I don't know if he even the author even like frames it as a problem one way or the other, more so than like just like a little piece of insight.
Yeah. No, I think it's an interesting thesis, right? It's definitely like one of those clickbaity things which you're like, ooh, I want to learn more, but there's actually real substance there. I think there may be a case, but here's the case that Sean made in his piece. I'm gonna read directly from the piece because it's actually beautiful writing. He says, the case for gatekeeping: when I think of the Chinatown basement reflexology spa where I chat with my masseuse about his grandchildren as he presses the tension points on my feet, or of the Mexican grocery store with a couple of tables in the back whose owner texts me albondigas hoy when they have my favorite meatball dish, I don't want to share them far and wide. It's not because I don't want to see these places succeed or expand their business opportunities, but because I think there's value in relationships built on intimacy and shared with a few friends rather than born from a fervid desire to consume. ... It is an attention garnered in the currency of community and intimate preference. It might not have the same value in this profit-oriented world as the attention that comes from virality, but it's one that I think is deeply necessary and increasingly rare. So basically, to boil it up in one sentence, he's saying the currency here is not virality or attention, it's community and intimate preference.
Look, I get where he's coming at, right? Like there are the places where you as a consumer or a regular may have built a relationship with or whatever, a patron has built a relationship with the business owner or the person serving you, and that relationship isn't necessarily served by or frankly like by boosting that place, right? By saying like, hey, this like this reflexology spot or whatever, by boosting it virally, you wouldn't actually be, those who you are recommending the spot to wouldn't necessarily have the same experience or be able to replicate that intimate experience that you have with it, right? So there's almost like it's like a mismatch for like a boost in that way. But I think like something that's interesting to me is the only people who have to worry about this are people with platforms, like people who aren't like quote unquote influencers or media personalities. I think you should always you should recommend word of mouth, like your spots, to the extent, like to your heart's desire, right? I don't know if it gatekeeping in that regard makes sense. It's only about, hey, if you are some TikTok folks with like a huge platform, are you going like, hey, check out this laundromat down the street? This is my spot. Is it like not quite the same, dynamic for that kind of recommendation? So. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an emotional based appeal, but I also think he's describing like different kinds of almost consumer relationships. Are more ripe for those kinds of like quote unquote gatekeeping or virality.
Yeah, to me, I think that's a great point. I do think like he's not necessarily saying don't tell like your close friends about this reflexologist. In fact, that relationship might translate well to like a close friend. It is like people with platforms, I think, making Instagram reels or something about them. I think it's interesting to flip it from the business's perspective, right? I think like every business you'd think wants to go viral and wants that attention, but there were some places that he talked to for the piece that were like, actually all this attention has actually kind of like exposed us in a way we're not really ready for. More so than that though, it reminded me of that conversation we heard from Josh Kopel, the restaurateur behind Pru and Proper last week, which he was talking about different ways that a restaurant could go out there and market itself. And it made me think, okay, maybe the only way to market yourself and maybe the right way for every business is not necessarily to like invite influencers in and to like go viral. Maybe there is a value for certain businesses in certain communities to explore this more sort of like community-based relationship building where you are getting regulars. And that's something we hear from restaurateurs all the time. I remember Avner Levy of Cento Pasta Bar telling us about this, that to him, it's much more valuable to have someone who comes in once a month, right? As opposed to some viral person who comes in once and fucks off and never comes back again, right? So to me, it's interesting from a marketing perspective to shift away for certain businesses from let's go viral to let's build relationships.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. And that's like a different, there's kind of the two questions that are like two different audiences are asking themselves the question, right? The restaurant asks itself, what kind of marketing do we want to execute? What kind of relationship do we want to have? How do we want to invite people in?
Yeah.
Right. And what do we want to present? And then for the other side, like for the most part, and the author points this out, like the argument against gatekeeping is stronger than the argument for it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think on its face, that's correct. Right. Like generally speaking, especially if you want to like boost the business of the place that you're supporting or patronizing, like you should, like, gatekeeping is probably not like the best business practice or best practice as a consumer, though obviously folks can do whatever they want. It's just kind of like an interesting like thought experiment more than anything. Like in what scenarios would I gatekeep or quote unquote gatekeep, or what scenarios where it'd be like less appropriate to be like or even harmful, right? The example he opens the piece with of this like one woman farm where the lady is by herself somewhere between Albany and New York and like plants and harvests all the food herself. It's the best bite of food he's had all month, but she literally doesn't want to go viral because she can't handle the traffic.
Yeah. Or
Or the really interesting example from like the 1970s where a food critic wrote an article about an anonymous place, like the best food, the top 5 meals he had this year are all from Otto, quote unquote, this amazing chef at this place where he just has the most memorable meals. And then people figured out where it was, and like a different critic was like, this place sucks. and panned it, right? So
yeah,
I think this piece just in general is more of like a thought experiment than like a deep practice. And I think you're exactly right, where the more interesting question comes in about how restaurants should market themselves, right?
Dude, I will say there's nothing more humbling than when you recommend a place and people don't like it. Like that to me is the biggest argument for gatekeeping, is just a save face.
Well, I mean, part of that is, has that happened to you, by the way, on the countdown?
100% all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
Obviously, like I recommend stuff 7 times a week, right? And so many times I'll recommend something, whether it's a noodle or a place I've been, and people will be in the comments being like, bro, I went here and I don't know if it was an off day, but it was absolutely rank.
Oh, no.
So that happens.
Oh, no.
That's definitely happened a couple times. And it sort of like defies explanation because, you know, I had a great experience. The restaurant didn't know I was coming, so it's not like they like made something special for me, right? But I think it just comes down to the fact that food is highly subjective, and restaurant experiences at 99% of restaurants somewhat inconsistent.
Yeah.
Consistency is what I think separates the great restaurants from the everyday restaurant. It's just like a built-in cost you take when you go out.
Yeah. Well, also, are you... when you do the countdown, is it a recommendation though? It's more of a review, because when you do your top 10 list or best things I ate this week, that's a recommendation. But when you're just going to a spot and being like, I know you don't tend to like, the whole point of the countdown is to like elevate and celebrate spots. So I know you won't like necessarily pan places, though during the sandwich countdown, you certainly gave some bad like score, or like some relatively bad scores, right? But like you're not doing recommendations. You're just being like, hey, here's this thing I ate here. Here's what I liked about it, for the most part. I don't think that counts the same way, right? Because then the next part is when you actually make a recommendation, like the best things I ate this week, right? Or your top 10 Italian sandwiches.
Yeah.
Then you're exhibiting your taste, right? And your like ability to discern what's quality and what's not.
Yeah, but what is the difference between a recommendation and a review? And to your point, like I think this whole gatekeeping argument, he's really kind of, levying it at people with platforms.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't think it's not really relevant if you're just like a dude. I mean, and also, especially because word of mouth is such a powerful thing for restaurants, maybe people who don't. It's really for when you make that like platforming decision.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the best argument I've heard for gatekeeping, I think I read it in LA Taco actually, and I've definitely heard people discuss it, right? For example, when an influencer goes to a place, maybe a street vending place, right, where perhaps the vendor isn't documented or doesn't have the correct permitting that's required, and you get these influencers who go there, they don't ask permission to shoot, and they just shoot something. Maybe it goes viral. Law enforcement has actually used those videos to go and like pester those street vendors. So to me, that's one of the best arguments for quote unquote gatekeeping is if the vendor doesn't want to be outed, right? Like I do think there's value in checking with the vendor first, right? It's a dicey game because I don't think you want to always go in as someone who is like making food content and ask people like, hey, is it okay if I review your place? Because then you might actually be treated differently and that will in turn color your review. But people need to be mindful. Not every business wants to be covered. Okay, so the other thing from Taste I wanted to discuss was actually a podcast you sent me, and that is on their This Is Taste podcast, and Matt Rodbard interviewed Jaya Saxena, who is a writer for Eater and a bunch of other publications, but recently, I think just this year, she's become the editor of the Best American Food and Travel Writing, alongside your favorite, Padma Lakshmi. Saul, what caught your eye about this podcast? Or ear, I should say.
Caught my ear, yeah. I mean, exactly what you said, right? First of all, right off the bat, it was that, I mean, This Is Taste, one of my favorite podcasts now. Jaya Saxena, a writer we read quite a lot. And also her being in this new role I wasn't aware of as editor alongside Padma Lakshmi of the Best American Food Writing for this year. So all that together, but when I texted you, I was like, yo, Jaya has a hot take on this, which is that there is no such thing as food writing.
Yeah.
It's actually not that hard of a take. Honestly, it's a pretty reasonable one. It's just that, hey, look, food writing is writing about everything in life. We talk about that a ton, but I thought that hook was a good hook. So, yeah, no, with all that in mind, I was like, yo, I should send this over to Luca.
That is not the take I thought you were going to talk about, actually. But that is an interesting take, and it's actually one that I think Mona Holmes even brought up at our live show when we were talking about the article about Haitian restaurants, which is like, food writing is way more than just food writing. It's writing about community. It's writing about food ways, right? I thought you were going to be talking about the point she made about how difficult it is for food writing to break through in this day and age. In the age of like 90-second vertical content on TikTok and Instagram, she was making the point that it's harder and harder and that there's got to be a way to leverage that social media, but that nobody, herself included, has been able to figure it out yet. And I thought you were going to give me credit for saying that this is what food writers should be doing all along.
That take does relate to many of the conversations we've had more recently, and the idea that, look, readers now have these 90-second attention spans, and how do you get them to go from that? And this is Taste talked about this as well. That sort of like review centric 90-second orgasmic face pulling cheese in a car video to what is actual food criticism and deep researched pieces, which cannot be so easily summarized in a 90-second vertical video. Tough nut to crack.
Yeah, it is. Although, remember how I was recently telling you about something called Chinese vertical content?
I do remember this.
So, dear listener, if you're at home and you don't know what this is, essentially there is an entire universe of content that is produced by Chinese production companies. They are basically doing long-ass, 100-episode soaps, specifically for TikTok, designed to be 90 seconds at a time. Each episode ends with a cliffhanger, right? And this is specifically designed to basically translate what I think they view as a bit of a dying art form, if you will, in the soap opera to social media. I think there's a universe in which the same thing could be done for food writing. Literally put out snippets at a time of food writing and each one on a cliffhanger and then just roll it out. Bad idea, horrible idea?
That pretty hard. What are the cliffhangers in a food piece?
It just has to be it doesn't have to be over the top gimmicky, did I survive this bite of crab cake? No, but something that makes you want to keep reading. It kind of puts the onus on the writer to be a page turner. Know what I'm saying?
I gotta say, the existence of this kind of production, 90 seconds videos, but long form soap opera, all stitched together, make a story, just doomed. We're doomed, bro. We're so fucked. It's literally I didn't Mark Twain back in the day. That's created the serialized story, right? He would post a chapter each week in a thing, and we went from Twain writing, or is it Twain? No. It might have been Dickens. Sorry, I think Charles Dickens was the guy.
Yeah,
not Mark Twain. And then we went from that Dickens level writing in a weekly paper to 90 seconds of Chinese soap opera, and that's like the level we're at. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, why not food writing? No, okay, look, I'm being a little bit facetious with the whole cliffhanger piece, but I do think there is a way to translate food writing and food journalism to videos that hasn't been done yet. I think the closest we've seen is obviously Bill Esparza with his stories, right? I think that's a really interesting way to do it. Why don't more reporters try and do stuff like that?
Well, I also wouldn't say, I don't think Bill Esparza's stories count. I wouldn't say that's the thing, because this is it's basically well-produced video content, long-form video content is what you're talking about, but taking that video content and like that long-form story, translating it into video, and then somehow making videos that can summarize the story and or tell the story in multiple 90-second clips. I don't think it's the same thing as like Bill roasting a taqueria like on his stories. I think that's what I'm picturing. And that's what I think Jai is talking about. It's not like, oh, like a food writer shooting from the hip on his stories and like like roasting someone. It's like, hey, how do you tell like a well researched, in-depth story in a way that people who are scrolling through their phones like every couple of seconds are willing to stop and listen?
So here's my vision for it, okay? Here's my vision for it. I think it's deeply inspired what Bill Esparza is doing. I don't think it is exactly what he is doing. But what I appreciate about it, about his stories, is that he fuses the writing, like he does write out things on those stories, and then he puts in like video clips too, right?
Oh, sure.
I think there's a universe in which you could see like Taste's Instagram, right? Doing like a 20-story series to tell the story of this article. Some of it would be like pull quotes, right? Like extended pull quotes from the actual writing. But then maybe you would show us like footage of the article that's referenced, or of the shop that's referenced in, I forget which one it was, in upstate New York, right? Sort of intersplicing different modes of storytelling, but that still sort of like really is food writing, right? In a different way, but also sort of still captures the spirit of the story. I think there's a way to do this. I think people overcomplicate this sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, like I see what you're saying. Like, for example, when Bill did his Al Pastor piece, he did like a good little suite of stories where he was like taking like video of like his top recommended spots and like pointing out what he discusses in the piece using pull quotes. But to me, that's still all just like, that's not the story. That's like a trailer for the story. That's like hey, go read this in depth, and here's why you can read it. Here are a couple little snapshots. It still doesn't capture fully, and I don't think it ever will capture fully like the experience of reading like an in-depth long-form article. It can tease it, and it can hopefully draw more readers in.
Well, I think the main tension here is something that Jaya actually brought up, which is those apps want you to stay on their platform, right? Instagram, TikTok. And so really, if your goal is to get people to a different platform, then yeah, you probably don't want to like sell readers the entire cow, right? Wait, what is the saying? Sell the cow versus buy the milk?
Why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free?
Yes.
Something like that?
Yes,
yeah.
That one. It's like, so I think why maybe a lot of publications don't do it is they don't want to give the milk for free on the stories, and then readers won't actually buy the cow, which is click the link and drive traffic to the website of the actual news site, right? Like that's why right now we're still in teaser form. But what's the goal here? I think the goal should be to reach the most readers and to reach the most audience. And I'm not convinced that happens on native websites. I think that there just needs to be a shift in mindset there.
I'm assuming a lot of these outlets, if not all of them, like including Taste, at least like preview the pieces that they posted on their socials, right? Like,
yeah, but there's a difference. I'm not talking about previewing. I'm saying give us the whole fucking cow. Like literally, do it in a way where some are all texts, right? Like imagine Max Shapiro does this on his stories, right? Where he writes full reviews. People stop and read those. We can say whatever we want. People stop and read those, right? There is a universe in which you can do a lot of text on a story, intersplice that with video content. You put the whole story specifically for social media.
Yeah, I mean, look, at that would work. I guess the question is like, how do you monetize that? Like, you still got to make money back for the thing. I guess the question is like, will doing that encourage people to subscribe if you do it for like a couple select stories, or is it like, are you just giving away your milk for free and now you got a cow to pay for and you can't afford it?
I think you could get those sponsored, like this story, like sponsored by San Pellegrino or something, right? Like,
all right,
if it drives it up, like they do that on Eater. right? Like eaters lists are literally sponsored by like, I think their taco list is sponsored by Capital One, right? So there is a universe, I think, in which you can monetize the actual story itself. Look, I'm not saying I'm a media genius, but like...
But you're not saying that.
Hey, one day when we own our own media company, we'll be able to play around with these. But in the meantime, I want to get to our final story of the day, and that actually comes from a Substack. I wanted to highlight an alternative piece of news. One of my favorite Substacks is written by Emily Wilson, and it's called The Angel. I saw that she posted something which was a bit of like a conversation she had with a different Substack called Bangers and Jams, I believe, by a gentleman by the name of Austin Tedesco. Now, what they were talking about in this conversation were the highs and lows of LA dining in 2024. I had a pretty strong reaction to this piece, and I sent it over to you. Saul, what were your impressions upon reading this?
I enjoyed this back and forth, actually. What was funny to me, so the overall sort of thesis is that LA's restaurant scene is in an ebb year, right? That there haven't been these flashy, hot openings that like catch the eye and also deliver on their promise. And they go through, and Emily, I think in particular, provides some really interesting insight as to why that might be, what experiences might be missing, and why this is sort of an ebb right now. Funny enough, I'm reading this from Seattle when you sent this to me, and I'm being like, this sounds fucking awesome compared to what I got up here. you guys are spoiled down there in LA. If this is the ebb year, this all sounds pretty good. But no, I appreciated a lot of it. The one thing that made me laugh in particular, and I actually screenshotted this part. This is from Austin, when he was talking about how New York offers so much of these like has been in a flow year, right? Offers these like high profile, like popular, hot, different like new openings. He goes, I still legitimately love having a coveted res circled on my calendar that ends up over delivering on all fronts. My first night at Bridges in New York was my favorite dining experience of the year. I think the food was probably like an A-, but it was everything else that bumped it up to an A+. The beautiful room, snagging the table right as it was getting impossible to book, sneaking back to the PDR, spotting friends at nearby booths, sharing gossip and recs on what to order, getting too drunk, flirting with waitstaff, emanating an energy that 2 weeks in they'd pulled off something, arguing with people days afterwards for how good the food actually is or isn't. Now, like, so much of what that was is just like, yeah, you got drunk in a restaurant with a bunch of your buddies, and it felt like hot to be there because you like grabbed a resi. Less so about the experience itself, right? So, like, and I totally get where he's coming from. I understand like so much of what colors any subjective experience with food or art or culture is your expectations going in, and then the ecosystem around the experience, your mood, who you see it with, the vibe around you, versus the actual like features of the experience themselves. And so I don't know. I don't know. Do you think it's been an ebb year for LA restaurants? Like, do you think it's accurate what they're saying here? Or do you think it's just kind of like the vibe is a little bit off?
I mean, of fucking course it's been an ebb year for LA restaurants. I mean, we've done nothing but talk about like the closures and like the tough economic conditions. And I'm really glad they eventually brought it up in the piece. I think actually Emily did. And I think Austin, to his credit, did mention the strikes, right? Took them a while, but like they did mention it. I think that context, you can't really tell the story of LA dining without mentioning those really tough conditions. So of course, I think one of the most interesting points made, actually Emily makes at the end when she's talking about how like during the pandemic, the necessity of the pandemic created like innovation and people got really inventive with their cooking. Whereas when people went back out to restaurants now, especially in these tighter economic conditions, they wanted something recognizable. They wanted something comfortable. They wanted a comfortable environment in terms of setting, but also in terms of food. And I think that's also proved to be where restaurants have had the most success. You see some of the most successful restaurant openings from the last couple of years. It's places like La Dolce Vita, right, who are doing like classic Italian American fare, or Donna's, same thing. And it is like just as much about the vibe as it is about the food in a lot of ways, right? So I think definitely the ebb thing resonates. To me, the part where I was just like, I read a lot of disappointment in Austin's tone when I was reading this piece. And to me, that was like, I don't feel disappointment that this has been an ebb year necessarily, right? I think that this is going to come back later in our gift guide when we're talking about gifts for the pretentious foodie. But I think that, not calling Austin a pretentious foodie, by the way, but I think that this is a behavior that a lot of pretentious foodies exhibit, which is that the restaurant scene exists to serve them, right? As diners, we have a responsibility to have more of a like two-way relationship with our restaurants. We show up for them, we support them. There's empathy required there, and I think that was a little bit lacking. Also, I think I was sort of like primed to not like this from the start because he was talking about Sam's Place in Highland Park, and he called the Highland Park clientele "quote unquote" torched. What do you think Austin means when he calls Highland Park clientele torched?
Dude, I actually have no idea. It's a great word. I was like sunburn, like what torched? Like I truly don't know. Look, this New York slang, baby. We're not hip enough to know this stuff.
I know, dude. Another reason New York is just perennially the better city than Los Angeles. They have the slang. Another thing that rubbed me the wrong way is when he talked about Budonoki's menu as his quote unquote personal nightmare. I felt personally attacked on that one.
What does he mean by that? Like it's just a fucking izakaya with like some like innovative / inventive twists. Like what's the issue there, man? Austin.
My guess is that he has an aversion to like fusion food. I gotta say, yeah, when you read the menu, I can see why some people might think it's gimmicky. They have something on there called like Budo gnocchi, right? Like a gnocchi, but with an Asian twist. So I could see some people rolling their eyes. I mean, look, those two reasons are why I was primed to go into this with a little bit of suspicion. Overall, though, I found the piece really enjoyable, and I really like the format of basically two writers like responding to each other back and forth, challenging each other, poking holes.
No, I actually really like that too. I mean, also this led me to subscribe to the Angel. So hell yeah.
Did you subscribe to Bangers and Jam?
No, because I gathered he was like more New York centric. I should actually scan his other articles, but no, Emily left a bigger impression on me during the conversation. I was like, oh, I want to read more from this person.
Yeah, well, hey, that'll probably do in terms of news today because I'm itching to get to the gift guide. But before we do that, I want to do a lightning round of Chef's Kiss or Big Miss. Are you down?
Let's do it, baby.
Eater LA included 3 effing funky restaurants on a list of 21 best Italian restaurants in LA that they released this week. Is making more than 10% of the list effing funky coded a Chef's Kiss or a Big Miss, Father Saul?
I mean, look, the guy makes good food. I don't know what you want to say. Now, look, what I'll say is, hey, look, he's a true custodian of Italian tradition. Like, what do you want, buddy? My only issue with it, I don't have an issue with it at all. But like, the only thing is, didn't Eater, we like specifically read through their criteria for lists, and they said they don't like repeating chefs or chef groups, restaurant groups on the same list to like drive diversity. And look, if Funky's good enough to supersede that supersede that criteria, good for him. But I don't have a problem with it. No, those are good spots.
I think, look, I can see why. Okay, obviously the 3 restaurants share a lot of menu items, so maybe there's an argument to be made there. But then just do what Jonathan Gold used to do with the Mozza restaurants and just call it Funkyplex or something, right? And just like be like, Evan Funky's restaurants are part of the best Italian restaurants in LA. I don't think there needs to be 3 spots for them personally, but obviously my bias is well known, so we're just going to move on from this one. Second one, Mona Holmes wrote about not 1, but 2 live music forward restaurants. One, a literal jazz lounge in Long Beach. The other, a restaurant, Somerville, in South LA, I believe, that will feature live music on a grand piano. Saul, is live music at restaurants a Chef's Kiss or a Big Miss?
It's the right thing, and with the right, it's an important, that's the vibe you want going in.
Yeah.
There's nothing I like less than being surprised by live music, but if a place like Somerville looks so dope. I don't know if you read the Somerville piece.
It is cool.
It looks really cool. Yeah, like, so if I'm like, hey, that's the vibe we're going for, I got my parents in town or people who would appreciate it, then absolutely yes. But there's nothing I like more than being at a restaurant and then seeing like someone walk in with a guitar case and I'm like, fuck my life, no. Don't do this to me right now, man.
The only places that is appropriate is like wine tasting. Brewery is a little aggressive too. I don't know that I want live music at a brewery, but like wine tasting is fine if there's like somebody just like plucking on a guitar doing like, Gavin DeGraw covers. I'm fine with that. But yeah, at a restaurant, I want to know it's coming. So I completely agree with you. Somerville is really cool. I'll definitely put that in the show notes. It's the restaurateurs behind Hilltop, the coffee shop that has 4 locations around town. I believe it's like a historic space, and they're trying to recreate sort of the 1940s South Central jazz scene.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, really ambitious project. I'm excited to check it out.
Word. Yeah, let's go see it.
Definitely a Chef's Kiss. Okay, next one. Bachelor host Jesse Palmer, one of my personal heroes. He worked with The Infatuation to make a list of date night spots, which included Horses, Matsumoto, Carlitos Gardel, Sushi Note, Camphor, Felix, Black Market Liquor Bar, Fishing with Dynamite, Fia, Pajoli, Nobu Malibu, Jitlada, and Pizzeria Bianco. Would you go on a date with Jesse Palmer? Is this a chef's kiss or a big miss?
Probably would. I fully trust this list. Like, I completely buy that Jesse has taken a date to each of these spots and then, like, fucked afterwards. the dude has kind of fuckboy vibe, very famous. I'm guessing this comes from experience. This list, I suppose I'd take his recommendations, though I don't know if I have the same vibe as Jesse Palmer generally, but look, dude probably knows what he's talking about.
I'll tell you why this is a big miss, and it's not for the reason you think. I know you're going to be like, oh, he included Felix, and that's why it's a big mix. No, I think Felix is a fantastic spot for a date night, actually. It's a beautiful restaurant, very vibey. It's because he included Pizzeria Bianco.
Oh, yeah.
Bringing a date to a restaurant where Chris Bianco is present, rookie move, dude. That is Mr. Steal Your Girl right there.
Yeah, that was the funniest part where you told me, like your wife came out of the dinner you guys had with Bianco being like, that's the hottest man I've ever spoken to. And I'm like, Chris Bianco? And she's like, oh my God, yeah. The aura, the riz, yeah, never take your date near Chris Bianco.
Dude, do not bring your date within a 40-mile radius of Chris Bianco, honestly. So that right there is a big miss, Jesse. But you know, you're always welcome on this podcast to talk food. One of my personal heroes. Okay, next one. A banana sold for $6.2 million. To give you a little backstory, it's entitled Comedian. It's a piece by an Italian artist by the name of Maurizio Cattelan. It is literally just a banana taped to a wall, and it's his art. It comes with a certificate of authenticity and installation instructions for owners to replace the banana if they wish, whenever it rots. So, is this a chef's kiss or a big miss?
How your people have fallen since the Renaissance. I mean, look, I would not spend $6 million on a banana, but it's a good bit, right? Like the whole thing, the thing was, it was a joke, right? It's like a banana duct taped to the wall, and good for whoever has the disposable income and sense of humor to feel like that's worth it.
The main question I have for you is, would you replace the banana or would you let it rot?
I think I'd like to replace it. Well, I think the person who bought it didn't get, like, the whole thing is supposed to be like a critique and satire of the art industry. The guy, I think, who bought it probably thinks he's in on the joke. The reality is he's still the joke. Like, you are a joke for having paid for that, whether or not you understand that it's ironic or not.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that guy's an idiot.
Yep.
or woman. I don't know. Whoever bought it's an idiot.
Yeah, thank you for not gendering our buyer. Okay, final one. The New York Times' Tejo Rao did a deep dive on ... tablescaping. She looked at the Los Angeles County Fair's annual tablescaping competition. Saul, is elaborate tablescaping a chef's kiss or a big miss for you?
So I had not heard of tablescaping before this. Looking at what it is, I have two reactions. One, all the designs I see here are big misses. Like, I think these look hideous. Two,
I agree.
I think I could be great at this, dude. I think I could bring like a real taste and modernity to the tablescaping game.
Yeah.
And so I'm into it from that regard, and into it from like a competition standpoint. It's like a funny. I would go to this. I would go check this out. This is kind of funny. It's cool.
I would too. Maybe we do a live podcast from the LA County Fair tablescaping competition next year.
I would love that. Some of these are pretty gaudy though, I gotta say.
They're hideous, dude. You know who I think would be really good at this? Dylan from Great British Bake Off.
Oh yeah. I bet he has like the artistic gene and like the overall vibe to pull it off. I bet he'd have like also a cool modern take. Yeah. Let's hire him. Let's fund Dylan to do some tablescaping.
Dylan, if you're listening, we will be your patrons to tablescape at the Los Angeles County Fair. All right, Father Saul, we're gonna be right back after the break with our first ever LA Food Pod gift guide. Dear listener, I made a deal with my wife. She let me start a food podcast and eat ungodly amounts of noodles, pizza, sandwiches, and more under two conditions. One is that I never utter her name. The other is that I find ways to be healthy outside of my work in food. Being the fantastic partner I am, I found a few ways to up my health game. I exercise almost every day, I try to sneak in salads for lunch whenever I can, and I only ever snack on healthy foods. The macadamia nut has become an essential part of my daily routine with the best omega 6:3 ratios in the nut game, 8 times better than pistachios and 20 times better than cashews. At houseofmacadamias.com, they've got a bunch of different macadamia products that you can enjoy, like savory and sweet snack packs and chocolate-covered snack bars. One of the problems with macadamias I've found is that they can be expensive, but I'm solving this for you, dear listener, because as of today, all you've got to do is head to houseofmacadamias.com and use code LAFOOD to get a 10% discount on a healthy snack that also happens to be delicious. So what are you waiting for? Head to www.houseofmacadamias.com/discount/LAFood and go nuts. All right, Saul, it's that time of year. It's time to start thinking about what we're going to be getting our significant others, the people that we have in our lives, what kind of gifts we'll be getting them for the holidays. Saul, this week I saw about a gazillion foodie gift guides hit the internet between Eater, The New Yorker, Food and Wine. Did any catch your eye?
No, I love getting food gifts and giving food gifts. I'm really not impressed by food gift lists, though. I mean, like, I think what you have to do is go like food gadgets, right, or cookbooks, right? You need to like get like a subcategory, because when it's just like general food stuff, it's all like random and kind of janky stuff, and they give you like weird random categories of person. Like usually the strategist at, I think, New Yorker is a pretty reliable like guide for gifts for things.
New York Mag, I think.
New York Magazine. Yeah, you might be right. Like their food gift guide is just like not. I was like, what is this? This is not helpful to me. So no, none have really caught my eye. However, there's plenty of stuff out there that looks pretty fun.
My favorite foodie gift guide year after year is Helen Rosner's from The New Yorker.
Ooh.
I think she does a great job. She picks really wacky off-the-wall stuff, but she also writes about it in a really fun way. And she categorizes it in ways that I find both useful and entertaining. It's just a fun read, honestly. And she's able to unearth like really quirky things that like I would probably never buy, but I would also never know even exist, and therefore I'm grateful to be reading that piece. So it's almost like going through an antique store. That's why I like to read Helen Rosner's gift. So while I was thinking about how to structure our gift, I decided that to come up with 10 categories, and we're gonna go category for category, basically trying to outdo each other on who can give the best gift. Okay.
Alrighty, I did not approach it with that competitive mindset, but let's see how this goes.
This is a competition, and if you think that I'm not going to be putting this up for a vote with our followers, you got another thing coming, my dude.
Fuck. Okay, whoops.
All right, our first category, drum roll please. Gift for the accomplished home cook. Saul, you're on the cook. You're on the cock. You are on the clock.
I'm on the cook, I'm on the cock, I'm on the clock. In that order, is that right? Are those the things I'm on?
I mean, I don't discriminate. Whatever order you please.
So first of all, I just gotta say, I don't like categorized gift guides. I think having like fake personality categories like this it's so hard, because like what's an accomplished home cook? What's a begin? Like what's the category? What am I to assume an accomplished home cook has? But whatever. My gripes aside, what I went with was like a really high quality, professional grade Vitamix blender. Which is pretty expensive, I'm not going to lie. So this is a very close loved one. But this Vitamix blender, I found like a quality blender is just something you're going to use. Yeah. If you're cooking a lot, you're going to use all the time. Soups, marinades, salsas, whatever it is. Like smoothies, obviously, right, if you want. But like it's just something that's used a ton. We'll get a lot of wear, and a high quality one, I think it will be like exciting for an experienced cook. I was thinking also like a sous vide machine or like a vacuum sealer of some kind, like a gadget that a home cook could use to take the thing to the next level. But I don't know, sous videing is not that interesting to me. And so I was like, let's go blender. Yeah, blender's good. My gripe with it, though, is that, as you said, like an accomplished home cook is likely to have some of this stuff, right? So yeah, I mean, like they'll have a blender, obviously, but I just assume they won't have like a really nice one, like one that's like really hardy and like quality, like this, like the Vitamix here. So that's why I thought like upgrading something a home cook has. Oh yeah, my other idea for this was like a Made-In, like a really nice cookware set, like stainless steel from Made-In or something like that. Again, pricier than the blender. But something that's like could take a accomplished home cook to the next level.
Okay, I went in a different direction. I decided to steer away from gadgets for the exact reason you said. I just assumed like an accomplished home cook would have shit at home. I went with a really high quality product that the cook might not actually know about. Now, one thing I really learned this year is that I always thought like getting your olive oil, extra virgin olive oil imported from like Europe was a flex, right? Like getting olive oil from like Italy or Spain, right? Like that was the good shit. Turns out that actually comes with a really high risk of degradation, because when an olive oil is transported, you got to do a lot of things in order to make sure that it maintains its quality. Really, what you're better off doing is getting an incredible local olive oil. And the best local olive oil I've found is Cordo olive oil from up in Northern California. They have this awesome, like, massive jug that you can, like, refill olive oil bottles with. Super affordable. I think it's like $80, right? Not that I would ever tell the recipient how much it costs, but it's way more affordable than a Vitamix blender, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's absolutely fantastic. You can cook with it. We usually just put it on ice cream, on like vanilla ice cream with a little bit of sea salt. It's the best thing in the world. I don't think there's a single person in this world who would turn down a massive jug of Cordo olive oil.
I might be that person, but no, I'm joking. I think but the two mindsets here are correct. Either high quality gadget or tool, or high quality ingredient for the accomplished home cook. I think that makes total sense.
I think you're going to win this one just because people are going to see the value of the Vitamix versus the value of the olive oil, and people are just, people are savage. They just want what costs
easy
more.
To buy. Easy to buy them.
All right. On to the next category, gift for the beginner home cook. We all have beginner home cooks in our life. You know that.
We absolutely do. My joke answer to this was a YouTube premium subscription, because as we've talked about, honestly, one of the best tools to learn cooking and learn new skills, YouTube, in my opinion. I went for something that you probably have not heard of, but that I actually used to like kick off my cooking journey. It's a website called Foodist Kitchen.
I hate it.
Well, why?
I just hate the name.
Yeah, but okay, sure, yeah. The name is corny. It's very much like it was like early 2010s thing, back when everyone was like doing self-improvement shit on the internet. But basically what it is, it's a 30-day learn to start cooking without recipes course, essentially. And it really is rooted in like how to master particular habits. Like it's like really accessible, how to stock your pantry, what spices to buy, how to know what spices do what, how to saute, how to sear, how to like do a roast or whatever. And then it like leads you through a month of cooking, ending with a dinner party that you host. And I think it's just like a really easy, accessible, useful way to learn how to like get off the ground with cooking, and cooking better and smarter across the board. I found it like a useful resource that I go back to all the time. How do you do vinaigrette? How nutrition works? Fixing broken dishes, and then a soup night, right? Experimenting, hosting a dinner party. I think it's all really useful stuff. $99, you buy a subscription. And also, by the way, after the one-time $99 purchase, you have it forever. I've had this since for like a decade.
Wow. And
I always go back to it. Super, super helpful tool. That's my guide that's my gift for a beginner cooker.
Horrible business model on their part. It's good. I like it, but you are assuming that this beginner home cook wants to grow.
Correct.
You're assuming that they are just that they want to learn and that they want to become a better cook. I went in a different direction, which is I wanted to make their life as easy as possible. And this year, I had the pleasure of coming across this incredible spice from Botanica restaurant in Silver Lake called the Magic Spice. Now, Saul, I know you famously are not a fan of like prepared spice rubs, right?
Well, generally yes, like flavored salts, prepared spices like this. Look, I'll use a prepared garam masala, right? Like that's a useful tool for me. But for the most part, yeah, I'm a little skeptical.
And unless it's branded by David Chang, then you'll buy anything.
I'll buy it, but I won't use it.
Well, the Botanica's Magic Spice, it blew me away. I love it because it's got green garlic in it, and it's also got Persian lime. So it's got really good umami notes, but it's also got a really nice brightness to it. I like it because you can throw it on fish, you can throw it on chicken, and it takes literally all you have to do is throw the spice on, dress it in a little oil, put it in the oven, and it comes out incredible. It tastes like you've spent a ton of time working on it, adds layers of flavor because of the different layers of flavor in the spice mix. And at first I was like, is this a cop-out answer? Is this just like a little thing? But then I went to Helen Rosner's New Yorker guide. Lo and behold, she included it too, dude. If Helen's got it, it's good enough for me.
Look, I'm not going to lie. You're selling me on this pretty strongly. I might have to try this and give it a shot. I feel like you're going to win this one online because, look, to the point that like you have to assume the person wants to grow. I like to inspire my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like people I'm getting gifts for, I want to lead them to where their personality should be, in my opinion, which is always correct. So I think you might have nailed this one. Not technically for a gift that will be used, but I hope my cooking lessons here will be utilized.
I mean, I definitely went that way with like certain categories. Like for example, with the pretentious foodie that we're going to get to, I want to change them, right? But for this one, I was just like, look, they're a beginner home cook. There's nothing worse than you get someone who's just starting out with something, a really expensive gift. Like I remember I watched Rocky in the 5th grade and I got obsessed with boxing. And one year for my birthday, my dad bought me like a really expensive punching bag and like gloves and like all the equipment, right? I used it like maybe 5 times, you know? Like there's nothing worse than when you do that. So I just $16, amazing magic spice. Maybe you get 2. That's the way to go with beginners, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good call.
All right. Category number 3, the gift for the friend who only eats out. Saul, you're on the clock.
All right, for the gift for the friend who only eats out, I have a Groupon to Gold's Gym, 88% off. Get in shape. You're probably eating a lot of fat, a lot of salt. You gotta get it. You gotta get the body tight again. That's what I'm going for.
This is not gag. This is for real. I like it.
This is for real. Look. We're talking about food gifts, but look, food isn't the end of everything, man. People need to have well balanced lives, and just as if we're eating as much as we're eating. Let's hit the gym, baby. Let's keep it together. No. By the way, no. Actually, I don't know if I should say this. I was gonna say no Ozempic prescription cop outs, but look, if you take Ozempic, all good, no judgment. But let's get to the gym. Let's take care of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And balance it out. I mean, look, what? I mean, if I'm being more serious, get a gift card to their favorite restaurant or something like that. But I had nothing particularly for this, really.
I didn't either until I talked to my wife, and she told me about something called the Red Dining Book. Have you heard of this, Saul?
I had not until I saw the link in the show notes.
The Red Dining Book is a guide that comes out every year, I want to say, and it is... Yeah, it's like, you know, a little mini booklet, basically, which gives you a rundown of certain restaurants in LA. And in each one, it gives you a basically like voucher to go to the restaurant and have, I think, an entree on the house. So they say the value of this booklet is $720. So to me, this friend, right, they're spending a lot of money out. Hey, let me help you with that. Let me give you some recommendations to good restaurants. Let's have you save on an entree here and there. I'm looking out for their financial health, not just their physical health.
This is fucking awesome, man. I actually think I'm going to buy this. Oh, Emily doesn't really like going to restaurants, so I don't know who I'm going to use it with. But if you, because it says you have to go with one other person, order 2 main entrees. Maybe I just order 2 myself. And then you're there. But I guess the idea is you go, order a couple drinks, right? Like, benefit the restaurant a bit, hopefully get a hook. It's a great idea. This is awesome.
It's a good idea. It is a good idea. And the thing I don't like about it is that it's only 24 places, right? Not because like I go out, like 24 is plenty of places to go out and eat, right?
Plenty for a year. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just mean like it feels very prescriptive. I don't like guardrails. I like to be able to go out and paint outside the lines, you know?
And those are the restaurants that obviously felt they had like a deal, like a worthwhile deal for them with Red Dining, and obviously they get the benefit of the marketing, and folks go in. Yeah, you're over complaining here. I think this is very cool. I kind of want it, but I don't think I'd use it fully. So,
well, spoiler alert: it is not in the gift category. Gifts I plan on getting you, so don't look forward to it. Okay, number 4, category 4, gift for the insufferable LA foodie. Saul, you're on the cock.
You do that on purpose?
I did, yeah. Figured it can be a bit now.
Okay, there you go. I recommend, if you're an insufferable foodie, I recommend the book, How to Stop Being Toxic, a practical guide to quit narcissistic behaviors, understand your emotions, and create healthy relationships. This isn't even a joke. This is probably just a good book for anybody. I know it's not a food book, but hey, if you're an insufferable foodie, by the way, this goes back to my gripe with these categories. Like, what's the difference between someone who goes out every day or whatever, eats out all the time, and the insufferable LA foodie? They're the same person.
Huge difference.
I mean, like they're pretty close, right? I guess it's a personality difference, and this will address those negative personality traits. This is the recommendation.
Here's how I view the difference. Somebody who eats out all the time just doesn't like to cook, doesn't know their way around the kitchen, and so they're just ordering DoorDash no matter what it is. Like they could be ordering like Olive Garden. It doesn't matter like to them, right? Like
that's not. Oh, sure. Yeah, I got you.
The insufferable LA foodie is the person who only has like 5 restaurants that they deem acceptable in their rotation and only go to those at all times, right? Like that's the person we're talking about. And my pick for this is actually a subscription to LA Taco. Now, if you recall in part 1, I was talking about how so many times with like pretentious foodies, they live like restaurants. Restaurants are designed to just serve them, right? I think that they really miss the point that restaurants are part of our community and part of our society, and that there's really should be a two-way relationship there. And I think that no outlet does a better job of outlining how food plays a broader role in our society than LA Taco. So I think a nice subscription to LA Taco to broaden their horizons, maybe help them better contextualize how food doesn't and restaurants don't just exist to serve their every whim, and how it's not something for them to just go in there and critique, right? That would be my goal. My goal with this gift is to change that pretentious foodie.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, look, you're going to win this one on the poll for sure, as you should. Everyone should read LA Taco. I don't know if this will help change them as much as introspection and like, little self-therapy could change them. But I'm assuming the more appropriate gift is a LA Taco subscription and not a book that's titled How to Stop Being Toxic.
I do agree with you, though. That is probably a good book for anybody to read. Okay, speaking of toxicity, we're going to move to category 5, and that is gift for the insufferable fan of The Bear. I had to do it. You criticized me before we hopped on about a bear category, but of course we're going to do a bear category on this podcast.
Yeah. I guess we got to do it. For me, I thought was a pretty easy one, especially given that you took the best answer, I think, which is a gift card to a reservation at Ever in Chicago, which is the restaurant that Olivia Colman owns, that famously closes in the 3rd season. What's the name of the restaurant in the show? I can't remember it for some reason.
Is it? I think it's Ever. It's Ever's.
I think they just call it Ever. Okay, got it. Yeah. They don't name it in season 2. I think initially when Richie works there, but they name it in season 3. So Ever, yeah. I would just go. I want to fucking go to Ever after seeing it in the show. Check it out. Have a nice meal there. Reminisce about all the episodes that you enjoyed watching. Make that the thing.
All right. I went in a different direction. I went with a physical gift that they can touch and hold in their hands. And are you familiar with the white T-shirt that Carmi is famous for wearing in almost every scene?
Yeah. I've seen this article. I know exactly what this is.
So, dear listener, in case you're not aware, that T-shirt went a little bit viral after the show, and it is a $95 T-shirt from a San Francisco store called Merzbischwanen, which sounds like it should be in Berlin, not in San Francisco. But I thought it would be fun to get the person this gift. It's obviously an expensive gift, and it is by far the most unrealistic part of the show that a chef basically is wearing a $95 white T-shirt that they are inevitably going to get dirty.
He keeps it. Well, I mean, you're wearing an apron, but right? Generally, you're wearing an apron, so that keeps it a little safe. But yeah, he keeps it impressively spotless in the show.
Well, that would be my gift for the insufferable fan of the bear, and honestly, a perfect gift for myself too. If anybody out there is looking to get me something. Okay, number 6 category: gift for the cookbook collector.
Mine here. Mine is a gift card to Booklarder, which is a store in Seattle specifically for cookbooks. It's called Booklarder. They have great events with chefs there. Kenji Lopez alt goes through. It's like my favorite place in Seattle. It's just like stacks upon stacks of cookbooks. The staff there are super knowledgeable. It's where you want to go. And if the person that you're getting the gift for lives in LA, gives them an excuse for a nice summer trip to the Pacific Northwest, kind of a 2-in-1. You could say, hey, aren't you making this person spend $400 on plane tickets to spend the gift card? No, you can also use it online. Booklarder, though, is an awesome local bookstore, which I think you should generally support. And it's one of I don't think I've seen an equivalent cookbook only bookstore in LA. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to find a Booklarder replacement, but this was the first thought I had when I saw this prompt. Get a gift card to Booklarder and go visit.
So, dear listener, I'd like to apologize because we are still getting Saul to shake the Seattle off of him. I anticipate that by next year, this time next year, he'll almost never reference it, in my opinion. But There are a couple cookbook only stores in Los Angeles. The most famous one is probably Now Serving. It's in Chinatown, right by Howland Ray's. But the one that I also included a gift card in this category, but it is a gift card to Kitchen Lingo, which is a cookbook store down in Long Beach. What I like about Kitchen Lingo, they also have people come through and do events there. I believe friend of the show, Gab Chabran, has been there. I think Ruth Reichel did an event down there actually not too long ago. But Kitchen Lingo, the reason I love it is because they have a section of their store which is like vintage cookbooks, like old cookbooks. And I feel like for the cookbook collector, better than like a new one or like a newfangled crazy one, giving them the option to go in there, check the awesome like vintage section that Kitchen Lingo has, that would be my gift.
It's a decent one. I think mine is still better. You got like I still
why? It's the same thing.
It's a similar thing. I think look, you never been to Booklard. You got to feel it. Also, for the record, I looked up cookbook only stores in LA and Google failed me. I'm blaming that. But I'm excited to check out Now Serving.
Well, we're gonna have to do an excursion to both Now Serving and Kitchen Lingo. Okay, category number 7. Gift that says more about you than about the recipient. The virtue signaling gift. I think there was some confusion about this category.
Yeah, you go first because I don't even understand how yours qualifies here.
So to me, this category is, have you ever given a gift where you're trying to show off what good taste you have as opposed to thinking about what the other person might actually like? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I've never done it. I'm a thoughtful and good person. No. Obviously, I get it.
It's so basically, it's a gift to show off how cool you are, not necessarily what the other person is gonna like. And for my pick for this, I thought, what is cooler than like natural wine? Like, I love giving somebody like a bottle of natural wine and being like, this was literally cultivated in the shadow of Mount Etna in Sicily. It's going to have a high degree of minerality because it was grown on volcanic soil. I feel like so suave when I give a gift like that to people. So there is a wine club at Psychic Wines, which is a wine shop in LA, called Visions. And I think for like a cool $55 a month, you get 2 bottles hand-selected by their excellent staff, which includes Riley Cox, who is part of the team opening Cafe Esca, who we're obviously talking to as they go on that journey and opening Cafe Esca in the Arts District. So it's a wine club membership from a person I trust giving you cool wines. That's a pretty cool gift coming from someone.
Yeah, so if you had said what's the coolest, most like whatever hippie, like not hippie, hipster gift you could give, I would have understood this assignment more. By the way, I almost moved in. We were looking at an apartment right across from Psychic Wines. We'll have to go back and.
No way.
Yeah, like right in Silver Lake. We were gonna go. We crossed it off pretty quickly. The place wasn't great, but it was in consideration. Psychic Wines sounds very cool. I wrote, because you'd called this quote unquote the virtue signaling gift, an anonymous donation to PETA. Which I don't know. I mean, look, the other thing, if it was a gift that says more about me than the recipient, I would name a gift that I actually have given to people, I think including you, which is the cookbook Truly Mexican, which is by Roberto Santibanez, which was the cookbook that got me into being able to cook Mexican food and and got me excited about cooking kind of more broadly because it was the thing that inspired me. I'm like, well, if it inspired me, it'll definitely inspire everyone else. And I gave it to you and other friends, and I'm pretty sure y'all have never cracked it. But
oh, we have.
Oh, you have? No way. Hey, look at this. I'm an amazing gift giver. Look at me.
Well, I think we cracked it once or twice. I think I made the chilaquiles recipe from the book.
Oh, sick, dude. Nice.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorites. But otherwise, yeah, I didn't have a great answer for this. Like, I know what you're talking about with like the, hey, like, you know, check out this this flower I got you from the soils of Mount Everest or whatever. But I don't have anything like that. I don't know.
Fair enough. Okay, look, it's just you're not that kind of gift giver, and that's okay. Okay, category number 8. We're almost at the finish line here. Food gift for your significant other. What'd you put down?
Emily wants what I want for Emily is an apron that says "I'm in the kitchen where I belong," and she does. That's right. No, I'm joking. What I would actually get for Emily for a food gift, because Emily, by the way, does not share the same enthusiasm for food as we do more generally. Well, last night when we were at our friend's place, very lovely place in West Hollywood, we opened the conversation with this long discussion about food, and Emily just sitting there, and I had a mouth to her like, sorry for all the food talk, because she's like, I don't give a shit about any of this. However, she has expressed to me that she is interested in those like dining in the dark experiences, like what it would be like to eat food but without being able to see it, and how that, like when you're in a completely like dark restaurant, and how that changes the experience. So I guess a couple tickets to Dining in the Dark, which is in LA, I think it looks like, and we can still go check it out. I actually might do this one.
That's cool. I would be really interested to hear how that is. I've always been curious about it. You know, I always worry that the food is just not going to be good.
Yeah. Or is it scary? Like, what if it's scary? It's like,
I mean, are you afraid of the dark?
I don't love it. I'm not a fan.
Dark doesn't freak me out.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's a good gift. I like that. That would be if there was a food themed escape room where you had to like eat in order to get out, that would be good.
That'd be the number one, right? There actually is an escape room in the Bay Area that's restaurant themed. That actually probably is the best answer. Like this escape room in the Bay that like has like at least some food tie-in, but I think we need at least 3 people or 4 people to do it, which is a bummer, and that makes it less personal.
Yeah,
just to adjust that. So
especially when you don't have any friends, it's hard.
Yeah, don't have any smart friends. Put an asterisk on that. Every time we think about inviting you to an escape room, we're like, but he's so fucking stupid. He won't get it. He's gonna slow us down.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. All right. For my wife, if you've listened to this podcast and you've stuck around for any of the ads, the First Life Farms ads we had, you'll know that my wife just started eating meat this year. And when I say she started eating meat this year, she started eating meat this year. Like there's no meat that she doesn't eat. She eats meat at every meal. The more red meat, the better. She's really dove in. And I recently came across this brand called Mercado Famous, which makes really good jamon serrano, jamon iberico, and chorizo, and they sell these awesome gift packs for the holidays. I was really skeptical because I'm like, what are you going to be buying, like, you know, cured meats and they're going to go bad? No, that like somehow the preserving process, these things are good for like years and years, and they have instructions on how to basically like reconstitute them, so they're like you can do whatever you want with them. You can cook with them, you can put them on a charcuterie board, and I gotta say, I'm a sucker for good branding. The branding on this is pretty lit too.
It is. Actually, this looks fucking sick. I kind of want one now also. Yeah, this is a good one, man.
Well, leading into the next category, which is actually the gifts we would get each other. Okay, Saul, what are you getting me for the holidays?
What to get for the man who has everything, man? Hardest question of all.
Yeah.
I went for an Uni multi-fuel pizza oven. For you, man. You know what unis are?
I have one.
Oh, fuck me. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It crossed my mind. I was like, does he have one of these? But okay, my heart was in the right place.
Yeah, no,
Uni pizza oven. I would get you something that would basically, I now have to like go back to the fucking drawing board, but like get you something that like unlocks an interest of yours. I was like, he'd fucking love this, having a pizza oven at home that he can make his little pizzas in.
My little pizzas, yeah.
I thought I nailed it, and apparently I nailed it a little bit too well.
No, I gotta say, you know what? The only thing I don't like about my Uni oven is the fact that I can only make one pizza at a time. And I feel like if I'm hosting people, it gets really tough because the only way to have a pizza party at your house, which by the way, that's on the to-do list. Got to have you and Emily over for a pizza night where I'm making the pizza. I can finally show off my skills or lack thereof. But the only way to do it is to do pizza omakase, right? Where you like are doing different toppings basically, and you're bringing out like different slices for everybody. Why are you looking at me that way?
Because is that the only way to do it? you could just make 3 pizzas and we could have a pizza party. You don't have to do it this way.
No, because then you're gonna do one at a time, one pizza at a time. By the time the third one comes out, the first one's cold, and you're also making like Neapolitan style pizzas here for the most part. So you got to basically eat them upon impact. Otherwise they get soggy and they're not as good anymore. So it's a dicey game. I think the only way to do it is to like come up with like 3 interesting toppings and make sure everybody gets like a taste one at a time. It's still a fun way to eat. But if you got me a second Uni oven,
hey,
it'd be a game changer. So I would actually appreciate this.
Gotcha.
Okay, I went in a similar direction. I'm like, what is one of Saul's passions? And he said last night, he was asked point blank, what is the greatest food, like type of food in the world? And without hesitation, he's like, the objective right answer is?
Mexican food. It's correct.
Yeah. It's like, so, and I know you love making Mexican food. You've obviously been working your way through the Guerrilla Tacos cookbook this year, which I assume you have not completed. But also you love Truly Mexican, that book that you just referenced. And I was like, what is the one sort of blind spot in his arsenal right now? It's making his own tortillas. I'm not sure you've ever really done that. Maybe you have, but I don't think you've really gone into it. And there's this company called Hacienda, which, believe it or not, I actually learned about from like Capital One commercials.
Yeah.
You know, Capital One, like for business, they're like, hey, I'm a small business owner and I followed my dreams. Literally one of those businesses is Hacienda, and it's been stuck in my head and I wanted to check it out. And they have these awesome tortilla starter kits with presses, masa, and everything you need to make your own tortillas. Buddy, happy holidays.
Dude, it's a great gift. I heard about Hacienda a long time ago, and then when I saw them in the Capital One commercials, I'm like, oh shit, it's those guys. The only thing with them is that I want to make sure they're like all kosher and there's no like weird like white dude coming through to like, you know, steal valor here. But the product, like the branding's really clear, really nice. I had a cast iron tortilla press.
Wow.
In Seattle, just way too heavy. I left it behind, and I had it, and I never got around to making tortillas. It's really easy to do. I think making my own home corn tortillas at home. If you got me this, man, I would definitely try it.
Yeah. Well, but would you try it with me there? Like, would you make tacos for me?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
You have never once in your goddamn life cooked me a meal. You have never cooked me a meal.
I made salsas for you that one year you hosted Thanksgiving.
That's true. You did. Yes. Actually, you did.
But that's not a meal. That's not a meal.
Man cannot subsist of salsa alone.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. I mean, look, you've never done that for me either, unless you were trying to like.
Yes, I have.
Unless you were trying to hit on some girl you had over for a date, and you were like checking me out the battalion, making pizza and pasta for your date at our apartment. I just gotta have the leftovers as a third wheel next to you.
Does Thanksgiving count?
Oh shit! I mean, yeah. It fucking does. I'm sorry. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. I gave Morgan more credit for that because her elote that she made alongside your bean and cheese enchiladas. That elote was fucking amazing. I mean, as for the enchiladas, to be clear.
How little appreciation can I get? Sir, you can fuck right off. All right, last number 10, last category. This has been one hell of a gift guide. Best gift guide I've ever read, personally. The gift I wish people would get me. What do you want, Saul?
So much, man. I think that what's crazy is it was hard for me to answer this because I've just moved and I literally bought myself, particularly for food and in the kitchen, all the stuff I'd need. Brand new wood cutting board I'm psyched about. Like new prep pots and pans. I got a flat top cast iron or a carbon steel thing from Maiden because I have like a whatever skillet top in my kitchen. I don't know the answer to this, honest to God. Like I couldn't name a damn thing. Now that you showed me the tortilla press, I'll take that. That's pretty good. You go first, man. I need to brainstorm on this a second.
All I want, bro, is for you to make me a meal. I'm just kidding. No, I actually thought about this and I was thinking, what do I not have that I could use that is expensive, which I would like somebody to get for me? And I gotta say, one area in which I'm really lacking in the kitchen is knives. Right now, we just have like a potpourri of like knives that we've accumulated over the years. Some are sharp, some really aren't. They're in a not particularly aesthetically pleasing knife block, and I would say that is my biggest like Achilles heel as a cook right now. I found this awesome blot-like set of Japanese knives from Kangshan Maya, which you can get at Williams-Sonoma in case you're looking for a gift for me. They're only a cool $700. I will have you know, I did not pick the most expensive ones. There were ones that were north of $1,000, but because I'm always thinking about your pocketbook first, I picked the ones that were they're actually under $700. It's $699.95.
Is it not very self-indulgent to be like, hey, podcast listeners, here's what I want? Like, here's a $700 knife block I want. It seems like a lot. I actually just got myself my first magnetic knife strip.
Yeah.
In my kitchen. It's fucking sick. It's awesome.
You got to be careful. Where are you placing it?
It's basically on one wall to the side of it's like on the side of the fridge, but not on the fridge. There's like a wall in between.
Okay.
It's actually at the prep. So I've organized my kitchen perfectly by prep, cook, and present stations. All about that efficiency, bro. I'm like Carmi.
Yeah.
I'm 8 seconds. I'm gonna be cooking everything.
Sure.
I have noticed a couple of times, like, oh, when I reach my right hand across here, it's a little. You just got to be a little aware. You just got to be a little a little where you're going with that, because you could scrape up against some knives.
The other thing, the thing I'll recommend is we got one of those when we first moved in, and I had the brilliant idea of fixing it behind our our burners.
Yeah, no, that's obviously stupid.
It's stupid for multiple reasons. One is there are now 7 knives behind the burners that we'll never get back, because you just got to make sure, do not affix it over any unmovable furniture. Yeah. Because whatever you lose, you've lost for good. So that's why we stick with a knife block now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But these are beautiful knives. Look, I just got to say, we're not getting sponsored by Kangshan Maya, nor do I think we ever will be. But I just love the details. It looks like the actual blades looks like a wood pattern, which I love. The handles are a cool, almost earth tone, which I know you're very fond of. Mm-hmm. Great craftsmanship. If anybody's looking for knives, I've never used these, but they look amazing.
Yeah. I know it's Damascus steel, right? Is that what it's called when it has that pattern or something like that? I'm pretty sure it is. I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, that was actually...
It is Damascus steel.
Look at me. Look at me, bro. I've watched plenty of knife YouTubes, chef knife YouTubes. A really nice, expensive chef knife would also be a great gift for the accomplished home chef, I feel like, to upgrade there.
It would. I feel like you can also always use another one, even if they have one.
Yeah.
I think it's a great gift. All right, Sal, do you want anything? Do you want anything for the holidays?
I want you to host a pizza party. That's all, man. I want people to follow the Surgeon General's recommendation to get out there, host a potluck with some strangers, make some friends, ask them what's the most magical thing that happened to them that week. And then that's it. Don't get me anything. I'm not begging the public for my gifts, bro. Come on.
Fair enough. I mean that's why we have a podcast, is to get free shit. All right.
Is it?
That'll probably do for today. I think hey bro, I'm very thankful for you. Happy Thanksgiving. Do you want to close this on a shitty Yelp review, or should we just call it?
We should just call it, man, because this has been going for a long time and I can't think of a single bad thing I've done in weeks.
Fair enough. Well, hey, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Happy Black Friday. And good job by you.
Good job by you, buddy. We have to stop saying that. We can't say that. That's not ours.
What can we say? You don't have to say good job by you, buddy. You could make it your own.
I just do it automatically. I just do it without thinking.
You know what I'm thankful for? I'm thankful that Bill Simmons will never listen to this podcast.
There you go.
All right.
Take care, man.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for listening to another episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks as always to Father Saul for making the time for us. If you like what you heard here today, dear listener, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a rating, a review, subscribe. Seriously, all that stuff really helps us make our way up the charts on Spotify and Apple. We'll be back next week with another epic episode, but in the meantime, if you're looking for me, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and even our website, the LA Countdown. That's TheLaCountdown. You can also find us on Instagram at LA Food Pod. That's LAFOODPOD. Happy Thanksgiving.